Welcome to my healing world. My name is Monica. I am Collagen Babe. I live in Vancouver, BC, Canada. It is the full moon in Scorpio on May the 12th, 9:55 a.m. Pacific time. And I wanted to just keep on my stories of doing fire offerings to my ancestors, my dearly departed. Especially in the last 2 weeks, we had 11 people in the Filipino community die in Vancouver at the Hula Palu Festival at John Oliver High School in Vancouver. And I want to pay my respects to the dead departed and their families and the community as whole. That's why I do all these fire rituals, because my mother trained me to continue the tradition of making sure that all the dead receive a good departure from the earth. They came to live their lives. You know, I think there was young as 8 years old, and as old as 60s have left the planet in the past week here in Vancouver, and just because one person was deranged. And I really feel that derangement comes from the environment and the foods that people ingest. Sugar being one of my main nemesis. I just actually did a 2-day water fast, and I decided that I would end it today because my ketones were way too high, and so I am deciding to eat on day 3. So again, we'll do it again next new moon. I was using baking soda, sea salt, and lemon, and my body was, I was using a breath monitor and measuring my ketones, and they were getting too high, so I've decided to start eating. And that's really an interesting experiment for me. Maybe next time I'll just do more water. I'll do more water and less of my electrolyte. So I'm passing on what I'm learning. And this is only my 4th water fast in my life. I have always been addicted to sugar and food and carbohydrates. And only in this last year have I changed my eating pattern from being a vegetarian to 14 years later carnivore, and then now I've reached ketones. So I've reached ketosis, and I want everyone to study Sally K. Norton's book on oxalates. That's my next study of releasing all the sugar crystals out of my body. And it's really not easy. It's very actually painful. Now I know why alcoholics don't want to get off the sauce, because it really is painful watching the little sharp little crystals coming out of my skin. I have this one point here where ever since I've been carnivore, it's been dry and crusty right here. So this is the gallbladder 20, and so it relates to my gallbladder, right? And we're all here to learn our own vehicle, our own cars. And our personality is not part of our design. Our design is different from our personality. And at some point you have to decide, am I going to eat for my personality, or am I going to eat for my design? And so I'm choosing to eat for my design now that I'm in my 60s. And you'll see my pictures every single day. That's what I do on my social media, is that I show people how I'm doing every day. Someone said, well, why don't you write a book? And I says, Well, when you have 16 concussions and, no, 15 concussions and a broken back, and you keep on getting symptoms like hemorrhoids because of the food you're eating, you just have to show your work. You don't have to actually write the book. I mean, I write the book every day in kind of like a magazine form, where I just show pictures and I write a little blurb, and that's where my brain can do. So let's just let my brain do what it wants to do. So I light, I'm showing you my garden. This is how I keep myself from, and then I am going to burn lots of money. This is for my Filipino community. May you all come to my table. I've fed the crows some leftover chicken that I made my bone broth from. You know, I boiled it for 2.5 hours to make really good chicken broth. And I'm giving my crows the food to eat because I want to bring the animal spirits into my offering. Om Bhuva Savata Savator Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuva Savata Savator Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuva Savata Savator Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. See, I started my studies before computers. I was born in the 1960s, and I had to study before garbage truck now. I had to study before computers came into play. I read books. I actually practiced everything I preached. I had to. I didn't have a computer back then. I didn't have a smartphone. You know, I did my work because I was damaged, right? I had a head concussion at age 7. I broke my front teeth at 18 falling off a bicycle. I fell off the Grand Canyon in 1992. So for me, life is an experiment, and I followed my guts. My only mistake was that I became a vegetarian for 20 years, and that really put too much sugar in this body. The reason I look the way I do is because the last 1.5 years, I've been letting go of the sugars that I had since I had formula. You know, when I was a child sugar addict, when I was, you know, teenager drinking alcohol, you know, 20s, I became a vegetarian, and for 20 years I carried this holistic healer vibe. In reality, my body was not thriving on sugar. It needed me to change, and finally at age 60, I decided it was time to stop the bleeding from my bum. I had to stop the head fog from all my concussions. I had to stop the inflammation that was in my body. So I share with you through my offerings to show you that everyone is on their own learning curve, and I can only show you what I'm doing right now. I can't be in my past. I'm not in my future. There is no future if my body isn't happy, right? And I've taught my kid since he was a little boy, please, you learn to be happy, because I can't teach you happiness. You have to teach yourself. So I welcome you all to teach yourself to be happy. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti.